Have you ever stopped to realize that the very fear preventing you from changing your life might be the same fear that could rescue you? That's right. Fear can be your greatest enemy, but it can also be the warning bell that saves you from settling for less. The real question is, do you know how to turn fear into your ally? I'm Bob Proctor. For more than 57 years, I've faced this silent enemy every single day, on stage, in boardrooms, at home, and deep within myself. Today, I want to show you how to stop being ruled by fear and start taking control of your life. Have you ever asked yourself where that paralyzing fear comes from? It doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't come from some dark place outside of you. Fear is a mirror reflecting your inner state. It's the direct result of not knowing yourself. Now, when I say not knowing, I'm not talking about a lack of intelligence. No, it's something else entirely. It's about a lack of awareness, not understanding who you really are. Ignorance in this case simply means not having the right knowledge. And for a long time, that was me. I had no clue what was going on inside. I worked as a firefighter, a position of honor and security. Still, I felt this constant unease, like something inside me was pulling toward a greater purpose, but fear kept me stuck. I'd look at my life and think, what if it doesn't work out? Maybe you think that too. Maybe you're dreaming of quitting your job, starting a new business, changing careers, or even moving to a new place. But there's a voice inside whispering, what if you fail? What if they laugh at you? What if it all falls apart? Those questions don't just appear randomly. They come from mental pictures you've created, negative ones that loop over and over again on autopilot. And what fuels those pictures? Lack of knowledge. You don't have enough evidence to believe in your success, so fear steps in to fill the gap. And here's the first big mistake. We try to eliminate fear altogether, but you don't need to wipe it out. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is a messenger. It's like a smoke alarm. It alerts you. It keeps you from jumping off cliffs. It makes you look both ways before crossing the street. The real issue is when fear turns into a prison that locks you inside your mind. That's when it stops protecting you and starts paralyzing you. I remember the day I decided to leave the fire department. It was a wild decision back then. Nobody left that job. No one. It was solid, it was safe, and I wanted to walk away from it all to chase a dream. And I'll be honest, I was terrified. You know that feeling in your gut that makes you want to give up before you even try? That was exactly it. But do you know what changed everything? I sat down with a mentor, and he said, Bob, fear isn't real. It's just a product of your thinking, and you can change your thoughts. That hit me like lightning, because here's the truth. Everything begins in your mind. You have a conscious mind. It thinks, reasons, and makes decisions. Then there's your subconscious mind. It doesn't filter anything. It just accepts. Whatever you feel over and over again, whatever beliefs you adopt without questioning, they go straight into your subconscious. And your body, the way you act, move, speak, feel, is a direct reflection of what's been planted in there. So the fear that's stopping you today, it didn't just show up. It's been there for a long time. Maybe it started when someone told you as a child that you weren't good enough. Maybe it came from a job interview where you got rejected. Maybe it was a time you tried and failed. That fear was planted deep, and now it plays on repeat until you choose to interrupt the pattern. You don't defeat fear by ignoring it. You conquer it by understanding it, by realizing that you are not your thoughts, and you can choose better ones. And when you do that, you take your power back. Fear won't disappear, but it won't own you anymore. You'll feel it, see it, and still move forward. That's when fear stops being a wall and becomes a doorway. And behind that door is your new life, one you truly command. There was a time when you tried and failed, and instead of trying again, you chose never to expose yourself again. That is the most dangerous thing. Fear settles invisibly. It begins with a doubt. Can I do this? That doubt grows into worry. You start thinking about it all the time, but do nothing. The worry becomes anxiety. You feel your heart race, your breath shortens, you begin to avoid certain places, certain people, certain conversations. Then comes the next stage. You don't talk to anyone about it. You hide it. You suppress it. And what is suppressed in the mind becomes depression. Yes, unmanaged fear, when kept inside you, can lead to depression. More than that, over time, your physical body starts to show this emotional disorder, disease, chronic pain, insomnia, tachycardia. The body shouts what the soul has been trying to say for years: listen to me. And this is not just opinion. Neuroscience has proven that repeated negative thoughts activate the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, producing excess cortisol, which completely disrupts your system. In other words, your panicked mind creates a collapsing body. Now stop and think with me. How many decisions in your life have you avoided just because you felt fear? How many doors have remained closed because you did not even have the courage to knock? And all this for one reason: lack of understanding. Do you want to end fear? Then start understanding where it comes from. Begin to study your mind, your emotions, your beliefs. If you understand, you no longer need to fear. Fear only dominates those who walk in darkness. But when you turn on the light of understanding, fear disappears, not because it ceases to exist, but because you start walking with awareness. And from that point, everything changes. You no longer live at the mercy of what can go wrong. You begin to create clear images of what you want to achieve. And by doing so, you change the vibration of your body. You change the energy you emit. You change how the world responds to you. And fear finally loses its power. Have you realized that you are living a life you did not even choose? And maybe right now as you watch this, you think you are in control. But stop and think, how many decisions of your day are truly yours? How many choices do you make because you believe in them, not because someone told you they were right? How many times have you looked at your bank account and felt a weight on your chest, as if something was always out of place? The truth is, most people do not live their own lives. They follow a program. They are controlled by paradigms, mental habits implanted in the subconscious since childhood, which drive our decisions, attitudes, and even how we handle money. And worse, all this happens automatically. You act as you acted yesterday. You think as you thought last week. You feel the same as you felt last month. It is as if you are walking in circles, thinking you are moving forward. I have been there. Before I understood what I teach today, I worked hard but was broke. I could not understand. I read books, took courses, was intelligent, yet I had no results. And then I realized the problem was not how much I knew. The problem was what was programmed in my subconscious. And that is what happens to you. You might dream of starting a business, but you never manage to leave your job. Perhaps you want to invest, but the voice inside your head says it is too risky. Maybe you wish to live with more freedom, yet you always end up back in the same cycle you promised yourself to break. It is not a lack of desire. It is your paradigm struggling to maintain the status quo. Listen carefully now. You can be an extremely intelligent person and still make decisions that sabotage your life. And do you know why? Because the paradigm, what is in your subconscious, does not respond to logic. It responds to emotional repetition. If you have been conditioned to believe that money is dirty, that rich people are corrupt, that success comes with suffering, then even if you say you want to be prosperous, you will sabotage yourself. Because there is a conflict between what you say you want and what you truly believe. And this does not happen only to you. It happens to millions of people. Look at the story of Oprah Winfrey. She was born into poverty, suffered abuse, faced prejudice, and had every reason to live a limited life. But there was a turning point. She chose to rewrite her paradigm. She stopped believing the story the world told about her and began writing her own. Today, she is one of the most influential and successful women on the planet. She did not do this because she was lucky. She did it because she understood that what is programmed in your mind determines the limits of your life, and she decided to take control of that programming. This is what I want you to understand now. You have the power to choose new thoughts, to select different ideas, to recondition your mind to serve your purpose and not your limitation. But here's the challenge. Most people live as captives of the outside world. They look at the news, the economy, the bills, and say, "I can do nothing." They believe they need to see in order to believe. But the truth is that you need to believe in order to see. This is exactly how the paradigm is overcome, not by brute force, but by conscious choice, by repetition, by focus, by understanding. And that understanding begins with questions. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you kept silent when everything inside you screamed for change? How many times have you stayed where you are simply because it was safer? Safety, my friend, is an illusion. You can be safe and miserable. You can be comfortable and completely stuck. And that kills slowly. It kills your passion. It kills your dreams. It kills your identity. The only real path is growth, and growth demands discomfort. You will have to think new thoughts, say new things, do new things, until the new becomes natural. I remember a woman who came to me after a lecture. She was 59 years old. She said that she had spent her whole life dreaming of being an artist, but chose an office job because she needed stability. For 40 years, she drew in secret. She never showed her paintings to anyone. After understanding what I am telling you now, she started posting her works online. 2 months later, she sold her first painting. Today, she lives from art, and she said that for the first time, she feels alive. This is what happens when you break the paradigm. And if you still think all this is difficult, let me tell you one thing. What is really difficult is living a life that is not yours. Difficult is getting up every day without enthusiasm. Watching the years slip by without seeing any real change can be painful. So pause for a moment, inhale deeply, then ask yourself, who is steering your life's course? Your present self or the old you? You hold tremendous strength, but it only emerges when you decide to shift your mindset, and that decision rests entirely with you. Have you ever wondered why, even when you know exactly what needs doing, you still hesitate? You've gathered the facts, you've devoured books, you've absorbed videos, you've heeded advice, yet when action beckons, you freeze. You become immobilized, and that familiar companion, anxiety, steps in. Anxiety, my friend, signals that you're emotionally anchored to a bleak mental image. Though you may not consciously notice it, your mind is rolling a film of everything going wrong, and your body reacts as if that film were reality. Your heart races, your breathing falters, your energy drains. This is how most people live, spending their days mulling over every potential mishap, envisioning failure, judgment, and shame. And the body treats these vivid scenarios as genuine threats, even when none exist. The human mind draws no line between reality and a lifelike imagination. That's why you must learn to channel anxiety into action. If you don't direct that energy, it will consume you. I've been there myself. Years back, as I began teaching about mind and success, my schedule ballooned overnight. I found myself in a hotel mere moments from stepping onto the stage when a sudden chest tightness struck, a physical unease with no clear cause. I, Bob Proctor, who devoted my life to mental mastery, froze in that instant. But then I stopped. I closed my eyes. I reminded myself of the lesson I've taught for decades. Every emotion springs from a single thought. So I traced back to the source. I was picturing what could go wrong. The instant I replaced that image with one of the positive impact I would make on stage, my breathing steadied, my body softened, and I stepped forward, with vigor, with presence, with conviction. This method works for me. It can work for you. It works for anyone who grasps the mind-body connection. Anxiety isn't weakness. It's an alert telling you you're focused in the wrong direction, and you can refocus with imagery, with movement, with decision. Notice that anxiety often strikes when you stand still. In the stillness of inaction, negative thoughts thrive. But once you begin to move, powering up your computer, drafting the first paragraph, recording that video, dialing the client, walking to the meeting spot, something shifts. Anxiety loses its grip. You're no longer just thinking, you're creating. Creating is the antidote to fear. Creation demands your full presence, and where presence reigns, fear retreats. Understand that the same energy that freezes you can fuel your forward motion. It only needs guidance. When you're fearful, your body slips into survival mode. But when you act with intent, you enter creation mode, and everything transforms. Your words, your tone, your gaze, your posture. People sense it. Opportunities sense it. Life responds differently. As Thomas Edison observed, the surest path to success is to try just one more time, but it won't suffice to try it the same way again. You must act with a different mindset. Change needs to come from within. Here is a challenge for you. The next time you feel anxious, stop. Take paper and pen. Write down, what exactly am I imagining could go wrong? Then write, what can I do right now that moves me toward a solution? And do it, even if it is something small, because action, no matter how small, breaks paralysis. This is not just theory. Recent studies from Harvard University show that intentional and conscious actions reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone, by up to 32% within minutes. This means your peace is just one step away, the step you have been postponing. And if you think it is too late or too difficult, listen. Time will pass anyway. The pain will continue the same. The difference is that if you start acting, pain turns into strength, anxiety turns into focus, doubt turns into decision. You were not made to live stuck. You were made to create, and all you need is to take the first step. Do you know what really separates people who succeed from those who remain stuck? It is not talent. It is not intelligence. It is something much more powerful and much simpler. It is understanding. Yes, it is understanding that transforms life, but not just any understanding. It is the understanding of who you are, how your mind works, and how the universe responds to your internal vibration. I learned this in the most practical way possible. At the beginning, I had nothing but debts, low self-esteem, and a job that barely paid my bills. But there was something I wanted to understand. Why do some people without education or connections manage to prosper, while others with diplomas and talent spend their lives struggling? This question haunted me until the day I stopped looking for answers outside and started studying myself. In that process, I realized faith and fear are two sides of the same coin. Both require belief in something you cannot see, but one paralyzes you, the other drives you. The problem is most people have blind faith, and blind faith is useless. It crumbles at the first challenge. True faith, the kind that builds, sustains, and moves mountains, is based on understanding. You cannot truly believe in something you do not understand, and that is why you need to study. You need to invest time and energy to understand how your mind works, how your thoughts turn into emotions, how your emotions shape your body, and how your body shapes your reality. See, every thought you repeat with emotion turns into a subconscious pattern, and that pattern becomes your vibrational frequency. You emit that frequency, and the universe responds. There's nothing mystical about this. It is pure physics. And when you understand this mechanism, you stop living by chance. You stop blaming the government, the boss, your childhood, or the market. You take responsibility for everything. And believe me, that is not a burden. It is freedom. Many people ask me, Bob, what if I don't believe in myself? What if I fail? And I say, you do not need to believe everything at once. You just need to understand how it works. Because when you understand, doubt loses its power. Doubt only survives in darkness. Understanding is light. I remember a young man who attended one of our seminars. He had lost everything in a business that didn't succeed. He was overwhelmed with sadness, drowning in debt, and burdened by shame. But during the program, something clicked for him. He realized that the failure he had experienced wasn't a reflection of who he truly was, but rather a sign that he hadn't yet understood how the mental and emotional laws operate. He rebuilt his mind. Every single day, he began visualizing what he wanted to create. He dove into the study of the paradigms that had kept him stuck in his past. In the span of 2 years, that man returned to entrepreneurship, and today he mentors other business owners, not because of luck, but because he finally understood. And you can do the same, but you must go deeper than the surface. Reading a book is good. Watching a video is good. But real transformation happens when you dive deep, when you study, when you commit to truly understanding, until knowledge stops being theory and becomes your identity. Now listen carefully. Research from Yale University shows that individuals who develop a deep understanding of their thoughts and emotions experience 43% fewer depressive symptoms, show 34% more resilience, and report 29% more happiness in daily life. That is science. That is real. Understanding yourself is the most valuable investment you can make. Because everything you want, every single desire, it already exists. You don't have to attract anything. You just need to allow it to reach you. And this allowance happens when you resolve the conflict within, when you stop sabotaging your own dreams with doubts that have no real basis, when you come to understand that it's not the world that has to change, it's your perception of it. Your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner world. If you live with fear, guilt, and shame, the world will feel like a threatening place. But if you live with understanding, clarity, and faith, the world opens up to you. That's why I say this with such certainty. You don't need more motivation. What you need is understanding. And once that understanding takes root, doubt turns into faith. Fear transforms into courage. And your life changes not gradually, but visibly, powerfully, and consistently. Choosing to live by faith built on understanding is choosing to truly live. And that choice only you can make. Fear is not the end. It's just the beginning of your awakening. It only holds power when you don't understand where it comes from. But the moment you commit to understanding, to studying yourself, and to conscious practice, everything begins to shift. You start making decisions with clarity, acting with purpose, and living with greater ease. Now, if you've made it this far, it means something in you is already changing. So don't stop now. The next video that's showing up on your screen will take you even deeper. You're about to take another step up in your journey of wisdom and become 1% better than you are right now. Thank you for staying with me this far, and I'll be waiting for you there. Let's keep moving forward together.